Good evening and welcome in to the Wire Sports Show. To the left of the screen is Pops, and I am QMP. We are your favorite father-son sports duo we're talking sports. And listen, we started this show because of the fact that we're speaking for all of those, in the barbershop, speaking all for all of those, just in your own settings, back in the hood, wherever the case may be. We've been talking about this for years, and we're bringing this to y'all because we've been talking sports for years and years and years. Where we're glad to have you guys with us. We're bringing this show to y'all. We're bringing this to y'all for the people to just talk sports, and this we're gonna have fun with it, y'all. So on today's show, we're gonna talk about a sport that we have yet to talk about uh, as we started the show, which is baseball. Then we're gonna talk about a few other things in regards to a sporting event that the Wild Sports Show was invited to over this past weekend. We're gonna also discuss a major injury that occurred in the NFL over this past weekend. Going to talk about Cowboys Cardinals. Going to also talk about what changes we think what have been made that the Cowboys have made over these few days as they go into this bye week. What our assessment is of the Cowboys thus far, and we're going to also ask a couple of questions that hopefully y'all can give us some answers to. We're going to try to give you answers to as well. So who is the best 88 in Cowboys history, and what is going on in LSU? Let's get into it. We're going to talk about baseball, y'all.
Bounces one up the middle, bats to the back, over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
So yeah, y'all saw it. So the Dodgers won the World Series, and I honestly could not believe it. I could not believe that they won the World Series at all. I really thought that the Blue Jays were going to pull that off, but the way they did it was truly amazing. It was a fun series to watch, and I'm truly not a baseball fan, especially not as much of a baseball fan as you are, Pops. But just talk to the people about your thoughts on the series in general, and how did the Dodgers pull it off? That was amazing.
Well, the first thing I like to say is this: that when the series started off, everybody thought the Dodgers were going to win the series in probably four games. But lo and behold, the Toronto Blue Jays decided to play some baseball themselves, and they actually evened the series up. And then I will say this: that the Dodgers players, they knew, always have felt that they were the best team in baseball. Of course, we all know that they won it last year. I don't think no team has ever done that as far as winning it back to back. And so the Dodgers felt like they had the team to do that. And they acquired a lot of other people, players that they knew that could help them to win that. And I also would think that when they went to the Toronto Blue Jays home, everybody thought that, oh, well, the Blue Jays have come back and they're probably going to win this thing. And to go to the Blue Jays home and actually get down like they did and to come back in the last seconds, or shall I say the last innings, well, then that was amazing in itself, because I think the Blue Jays, we had them down to like maybe one run, maybe one inning maybe. Yeah, and so actually the Dodgers pulled it off by having, I think, a double play at the end of the game. And as you said, you were amazed, or not, shall I say, you were kind of startled how it was devastating to the Toronto Blue Jays. But on that note, the Dodgers became the first team to actually win back-to-back World Series. And that's my thought about that.
And I would say, when you look at it, it seems like more so to me that instead of the Dodgers winning it, the Blue Jays lost it. because they
Okay.
had several opportunities where they could have closed out the game and they didn't do it. You know what I mean? So it again, for me not being a baseball fan and to see how that series played out, and then to be a game 7 to top it off was outstanding. So it brought me in as a non-baseball fan. It intrigued me so much to want to watch it and really be tuned in. So kudos to the MLB for such an amazing into the baseball season. And congrats to the Dodgers again for winning the World Series. so next is sporting event that the Wild Sports Show was invited to attend. I gotta say it was truly a an awesome event, and I truly am pleased to have gone there, especially with you, Pops. And then we had some a special guest with us as well that attended the game with us. But just want you guys to see this scene of the SMU Miami game is where we were. Just look at the scene here. It was an amazing scene, and as you see, SMU beats number 10 Miami in overtime. It was awesome to see SMU Miami. Just to see how that whole game played out, it truly looked like SMU was going to lose. Pops, as you know, I kind of thought like, okay, it's over, it's over, it's over. But they wound up pulling it out, which it was in awesome fashion. Yet another game with a lot of drama in it, and it came down to the wire, just as we just discussed with baseball, how this SME Miami game went into overtime when it looked like Miami was going to go ahead and pull this game out, and they didn't. SME was able to pull out the win. So just give me your thoughts on being at the game, just the atmosphere, and just your overall thoughts of the game in general.
Well, of course, we know, or I knew, that this was SMU's homecoming game, and it was sold out. And when we got out to the stadium, well, then everybody was already fired up for the game. And Miami was ranked number 10 in the nation also. And I kind of thought, I said, well, I don't know if SMU can actually play with these guys because of how many games Miami had played that were kind of like, shall I say, special games. But SMU showed me a lot of heart and a lot of gut for that game because they got up, they got down, and they kept playing. And sure enough, at the end of the game, like you said, they had to put it out at the end. But the thing about that is Miami thought they had it won. And in the very last seconds, SMU, well, he missed a field goal before that. And then the last field goal they made, it actually helped them to tie it and send it in overtime. And then Jenkins has been, Jennings rather, been one of the better quarterbacks that a lot of people don't know about. Well, then he actually did maneuver the drive down the way he needed to take them to. And then when he got ready to actually throw the ball, well, I don't think he didn't actually throw it. He actually handed it off, but nobody expected them to win a game in overtime like that.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. Truly glad that we were invited to come out and check out that game, and looking forward to hopefully going back out again to seeing another awesome game. Hopefully, it won't necessarily come down to the wire. Hopefully, it'll be uh, maybe a blowout, or they'll be up a few scores, something of that nature. But it turned out to be an awesome game. So again, glad that we were invited out to attend that game. And like I said, looking forward to the next sporting event the Wire Sports Show is going to be invited to attend, hopefully sooner rather than later. And you guys will be the first to see that. You guys will be the first to know about it when we have the show following whatever sporting event we're invited to attend. So this next topic we're going to get into, Pops, it's a I don't necessarily say it's a polarizing topic, but I will say that it made a lot of people upset to see this injury occur. Um, over this past weekend, and it's in regards to Jaden Daniels and him injuring himself um, at the last part of the game. Just check out this clip, guys.
Daniels got tangled and the arm just gets pinned.
Y'all saw the injury that happened. It is gruesome. We're not going to show it again, but I mean, just to see that happen and to know the time of the game that this occurred. I believe that Seattle was up 38-7, if I'm not mistaken, when this injury happened, and I mean, Jaden Daniels is on a running play, QB run, and lands awkwardly on his elbow, and y'all saw it, what happened to his elbow. So the way it looked, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. And it's unfortunate that this injury occurred. And again, with the game well in hand by Seattle, to see this injury happen at this time, this juncture of the game, it was unbelievable to see. And I will say this, I feel this way when it comes to Dak or any other quarterbacks that are out there, or just star players in general in a blowout game, whether it's the team that's up a big amount or that's losing by a big amount. If it's this late in the game, there's no reason why you should have your star players out there. I don't really see a reason why a star player should be out there for any reason. It just doesn't make any sense, because you run the risk of something like we saw in that clip happen. And now your star quarterback is out for the season, and he's the reason why he's the reason why you're so successful, because he's the type of quarterback that makes everybody around him better, regardless of who they're playing with or whatever the case may be. He is the definition of a star quarterback. And to have him in at that point of the game was utterly ridiculous. And like I said, and as you and I talked about before, Dak has been in games super late in games when he shouldn't have been, when the Cowboys are up big or they're losing big. And it's like, what are we doing here? What's the point of them getting additional reps when it's not needed? Give them extra reps in practice or whatever the case may be, but you don't, at least you minimize the risk of your star players getting injured. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on that, Pops, on the injury, and then once you tell us about it, we're gonna see what the coach had to say in regards to why Jaden Daniels is in the game. But go ahead, tell me what you thought about him being in the game, and just your thoughts overall, just star players being in games late, whether they're blowing out the opponent or the opponent's blowing them out.
Well, I have had a chance to see it. It was a while back. The Washington Redskins lose a quarterback with kind of a devastating injury like Daniels had. It was back when Lawrence Taylor was playing. It was a while back. Some of you guys, viewers, might not know that, but Joe Theismann's leg was broke. It was broken so bad they couldn't even show it on TV. And the thing about it is that when we saw Daniels' injury, it kind of brought me back to that. And like you said again, he should not have been in that game, knowing that they couldn't win the game. And those kind of injuries do happen. And then the next thing you know, you have the fans second guessing why you had him in there, because we all have said that he has and is the franchise quarterback that Washington thought that they had. So I am like you. I think that he should not have been in there, and I don't know why coaches allow uh, the quarterbacks or special players to stay in the game when they know they possibly can't win the game. I hopefully hope, shall I say, that he comes back from that injury, because sometimes when you do things like that, it can mess up your career. So I'm thinking that they'll let him rest for the rest of the season, and that he'll come back healthy. And I know that I'm an enemy to the Washington Commanders, but I wanted to say this. Hopefully, again, for this young man, that it does not interrupt his career, and that he can come back strong again.
Understood. Well, let's take a look at what the coach had to say.
Was there any consideration to not having Jaden go in for that series in which he got injured and having Marcus finish it out?
Yeah, not at the space. I mean, obviously, like the hindsight, you don't want to think that way, where an injury could take place. Obviously, we're more conservative in that spot to, run and hand off and not have reads to go. But just the end result, Nicky, obviously, I'm bummed.
We heard what Dan Quinn had to say, but and to his credit, he did come out later on in another press conference and did state that it was on him that he left Jaden Daniels in the game too long. However, at the end of the day, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. So you will get, and I heard Troy Aikman talk about the fact that he did give him credit for stating that, but he felt, I wouldn't say I would say he was a little upset in regards to Dan Quinn saying it after the fact, after he had already said what he said in the clip we just saw, and then stating that, well, it's on me, I left them in too long. Well, yeah, you did. I mean, now all signs point to the Redskins not having a successful season, because we both know Jaden Daniels is a much better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. And we saw what Jaden Daniels did last season in making sure that he was able to secure a playoff spot. He played exceptionally well. He played exceptionally well last year. And just to see how injured he's been and to see him getting injured in the fashion he did, it was truly disheartening. And you mentioned the fact of Joe Theismann. Well, I'll take you back to Robert Griffin III. So, when you look at that quarterback, it just seems like it's funny you would bring up Joe Theismann. I'm bringing up Robert Griffin III, and then we have this quarterback getting injured now in Jaden Daniels. Next question is, are the Commanders cursed at quarterback? I mean, is it just their situation that they're truly cursed at the quarterback position? Because when they've had bona fide superstar quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Robert Griffin III, Joe Theismann, back when you were, still coming up watching football, those Lawrence Taylor, whatever the case may be, you have a lot of football history there, Pops. And just to see all those quarterbacks and get injured like they have. Now, they've all had success. However, it just seems like they are cursed at that position. Now, time will tell if it's different, but Jaden Daniels has had significant injuries. We saw what happened to Robert Griffin III. When he got injured, he was never the same anymore. Now, there were other factors that played into him not being the quarterback at Washington anymore, but it just seems like they are cursed at that position. At least that's what I'm seeing right now. What are your thoughts on that, Pops?
Well, like you said again, that injury that we saw, it did bring back those memories about that. And hindsight's 2020. So it's still in there, and it still will have to be seen later at a later date whether Daniels does come back, or if this is it for him. Hopefully, he can rehab strong enough in the coming spring. Like I said again, he knows himself what he can do. Hopefully, the coaches, they won't push him along for that and give him a chance to actually really heal, because he shouldn't have been in the game. We said that, and all of us can say the same thing about that, about him not being in the game. But I wish him the best. I wish him well, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it there for that discussion, as we both have agreed. Shouldn't have been in the game. Shouldn't have been in the game, but we see what the result of that was, and we'll see what comes of the Commanders next year, because I don't see them doing anything, and we're going to talk about the Cowboys and that whole situation as well. But the situation they're in, they don't truly have a quarterback right now. They've been riddled with the injury bug in general, but this quarterback injury is devastating for them, truly devastating. So let's get into a topic that we kind of don't want to discuss, but we will. Let's talk about the Cardinals-Cowboys game. Let's see the clip. Y'all saw the score. 27-17. We lost to the Cardinals. Now, last week's show, I did say that I thought Kyler Murray would be starting and that we would lose the game. Right? That's what I said, Pops. That's what I said. Now, we then find out, hours before the game, that Kyler Murray is not even playing. He's not even playing in the game. So the reason I thought they were going to lose the game, that quarterback was on the sideline still injured. And then what happens? Jacoby Brissett just, goes out there and puts up 27 points against our Cowboys. I mean, and then we lose. So again, I said we were going to lose, but it wasn't the reason it wasn't the reason that we truly lost when it happened in real time, because again, that quarterback wasn't there. So, needless to say, it was a truly disappointing loss. Um, a game that people would have thought we would have won when it came down to it, because of mainly the offense outscoring the Cardinals defense, but that didn't happen. And again, it's a bad loss because of the fact that many people thought we would win. Not because of the defense, because we know the defense is awful. We know that it's historically bad at this time, right? But we at least thought the offense was going to do its thing, score some points, and Matt, my apologies, I misspoke there. So the offense did score 17 points. We technically scored 7 points because one of those touchdowns was a special teams touchdown. Well, and then the other 3 points was a field goal. So we only scored 7 points when we were used to scoring 40 plus points at home. So again, terrible loss for the Cowboys. And it's got some people saying that season's done, season's over. The projections are saying we now have a 7% chance of making the playoffs after this loss. So, Pops, my question for you is, what happened?
You probably wouldn't believe this, but when I found out that Murray wouldn't be in there, I kind of felt like Dallas would slack up themselves and possibly think, or fans would slack up also and think that because Murray was not there, that we would win that game, and maybe say easily. But we do know that Dallas has not beaten the Cardinals, and I don't think really maybe a good 10, 15 years. And so the Cardinals didn't believe they'd lose, but we thought they'd lose. And he came on the field at the backup quarterback, as we said, which looked like a starting quarterback, and he performed real well. And the defense, I don't know exactly what they did because the simple fact of it is, I thought that they thought he was going to slack up for the Cardinals, but he actually picked them apart. They had open receivers. They had more or less 15 to 20 yards per catch, and we need to highlight one receiver that they, uh, yeah, we Marvin Harrison Jr. picked them apart. And I don't know if you saw one of the moves he did on one of our number one defensive backs. He crisscrossed his legs. It's like a crossover. And I don't think Bland wants to ever show that clip again because of him being one of the best. But Marvin Harrison Jr. destroyed the Cowboys single-handedly by itself. And I got to my job the next day, and they said that we tried to tell you that the Cowboys could lose that game. And everybody was saying, well, no, Murray's not in. And lo and behold, we have to live with that now, that even a backup quarterback came down and our team, which, like you said again, was scoring all kind of points, and we couldn't even muster enough points up against a backup quarterback. So we'll have to kind of fix that problem, and hopefully in the future we will.
You said something there, and the route that Marvin Harrison Jr. ran, it was so good that they continue to show the clips of CeeDee Lamb was like, oh, like he couldn't. It was such an awesome route that he ran, and it made Bland look awful. But yeah, he had a field day, and again, this is what we've been seeing with any of the teams that have gone against the Cowboys in general. They've had awesome games. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. is quite a talent at the receiver position. I mean, he's amazing. And you see, you know, chip off the old block from his dad, who played for the Colts. So he's a heck of a receiver. So I give him all the credit for that. But it just seems like no matter who it is, our defense is making them look like superstars. I'm actually surprised that Jacoby Brissett didn't have 300 yards passing. I'm shocked that he didn't have 300 yards passing because that's what it seems like our defense continues to give up. And yes, I am extremely critical of the defense because of the fact that, I was previously saying when we played against the Commanders that we were improving, but not quite the case. But again, it was a bad loss. It was truly a bad loss, and I truly hope that changes do come. Now we know some changes that have been made, which we're going to discuss here in a bit. But not just those particular changes, but other things that can be done to make sure that we improve somewhat. Like, again, we need to be average. We just need to be average. That's the main thing. If we can be average and the offense plays like they're capable of playing, I was watching a show, listening to a show, not watching a show, listening to a show, and the guy said the offense may not be able to score 40 points every game, and he's right. That is totally the case. Hey, I appreciate the comment, Brandon. How the heck did the Cowboys lose against Jacoby Brissett? My point exactly. How did they lose against this guy? Now, I will say, appreciate the comment, appreciate the question. The thing that I will say is that a lot of people were saying leading up to the game that the Cardinals offense looked much better with Jacoby Brissett at the helm compared to Kyler Murray. And they're saying because Jacoby Brissett just allows the offense to flow. He truly buys into the plays that are called, and just follows through with the offensive coordinator's game plan. And saying there's a stark difference between Jacoby Brissett and with Kyler Murray. But again, I said last week's show we would lose because Kyler Murray was coming back. Regardless, we still lost. But yeah, Jacoby Brissett, I will say he's been playing well over these last few games. I mean, going up against, I believe it was a coach they played against. He had a really good game. He's been playing well. He's been playing good ball. But again, I did not think we would lose to Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. I really thought, like I said, we would lose against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, not Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. So disappointed to say the least in the fact that we did lose the game. And I got to say, the Cardinals defense did come to play as well, because again, they held our offense to 7 points. So they said, we'll show you what we're capable of. And you're not going to score 40 on us at home. You're not going to do that. So they showed us for sure. And I'm telling you, I've been hearing on all the shows that I listen to that this is the worst loss. They keep saying this is the worst loss. This is the worst loss. First, they were saying, I believe it was the Panthers was the worst loss. Then they were saying the Broncos was the worst loss. And now we're saying that this is the worst loss. So it's looking pretty bad. I mean, it's looking pretty bad right now. But there is some hope on the way, and we're going to discuss that now. So going into the bye week, there are a couple of changes that were made, and in the form of trades. And I will say that Jerry Jones did tease this during the Monday Night Football pregame Monday Night Countdown. He did tease the fact that there was a trade that had already been, a deal was done, but he didn't want to announce it. Said he would come the following day, which we did see. And so that was a trade for Logan Wilson, who is a linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, to give you a bit of backstory behind this linebacker, he was the team's leading tackler 3 straight seasons. So, I mean, thank you for the comment, Brandon. Now the Panthers are getting it together. Thank you for that. You're right. They are looking better. So the only thing that I see when the Cowboys lose to certain teams is I'm like, please look bad against other teams instead of the Cowboys, just not the Cowboys. Look bad against other teams instead of making us look bad. So that way, if they're losing to other teams, after beating us, then at least it gives us some reason to be like, you know what, man, we're bad. We need to make some changes. But the fact that they're winning now makes it seem like, okay, well, the Panthers they might be pretty good. You know what I mean? I just don't want that stigma to be caused, but that's typically what will happen, even with Chicago. You know, we saw how they came back in epic fashion and how they're looking. They beat us. You know what I mean? And so it's looking like, man, Chicago Bears might not be that bad of a team either. That's the one thing I forgot to mention: the game against the Bears. They were saying that was one of our bad losses as well. So, but anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, the changes that the Cowboys are making. We got uh, Logan Wilson from the Bengals, and when it happened, I'm thinking this can't be the only move we're making. There's no way. There's no way this can be the only move we're making if we're truly trying to improve this defense. Because really and truly, we know the offense is gonna be there. Now they didn't have a good showing against Denver. They didn't have a good showing against the Cardinals, which is alarming, right? But the main thing that needs to improve is the defense. The main thing that needs to improve is the defense, as we both will agree. Correct, Pops?
That's correct, sir.
So the Logan Wilson move was made, and then a blockbuster trade was made, which I can't say I expected because I truly did not. I knew that it was a possibility that the Jets could be sellers and trying to establish the Aaron Glenn regime as far as him being the new head coach there and trying to make sure his culture is truly established by, hey, we're just going to start this thing over and truly doing things how he's used to them being done at Detroit, how Detroit, truly rebuilt their organization. So Quinnen Williams is now a Dallas Cowboy. Quinnen Williams, who is a heck of a player, a heck of a defensive lineman, can stop the run and can rush the passer. Now, let me give you the things we gave up for these players. So for Logan Wilson, I believe we gave up a 7th-round pick. For Quinnen Williams, we gave up one of our first-round picks. We gave up a 2nd-round pick, and we gave up Mozzie Smith. Now, I'm a fan of the moves that we made. I'm truly pleased that we were able to make these moves because if the moves stop at Logan Wilson alone, I mean, I'm still gonna bleed blue. I know you're still gonna bleed blue. We're still gonna be Cowboys fans. However, if that was the only move that we made, uh, what are we doing? What are we doing? But again, this blockbuster move with Quinnen Williams was a heck of a move. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I will say we got rid of a player that was a bust for us in Mozzie Smith. Unfortunate, but what was the point of him still being on the roster? And I did mention in last week's show that I thought it could be Trayvon Diggs. Not quite the case, but I mean, this one, I'm not mad at this either because again, Mozzie Smith was just taking up a roster spot. That's it. He was not contributing, and I truly had hope that he would do something. Try to maybe get a new coach, the coordinator maybe will help. No. So Mozzie Smith is now a Jet, and we don't have one of our first-round picks. We don't have our second-round pick. However, we do have a superstar player. Now, will these two players make an immediate impact? Yes, they will. Are they going to fix our defensive issues that we've had? Just magic wand defense is fixed now? No, not even close. However, I will say that it's going to significantly increase our ability to play defense. Appreciate the comment, Brandon. Mozzie said he didn't even want to play football. Well, he's not going to want to play football with the Jets now. So, hey, saying something like that, good riddance. Appreciate the comment, Brandon. But yeah, good riddance then, man. We don't need players like that on the Cowboys. If you're feeling that way, bye. Get out of here. Don't say that with the Jets now. Let's see how long you're going to be on that team. And I wonder how long. Let's see if he's going to improve because we know that some players. Thank you for the comment, DeAndrea. Do you think this will make immediate improvements, or is this more of a foundational move. I will say that I think that it will be an immediate improvement for the defense for sure. But two things can be true. So it's going to be an immediate improvement, and it's going to be for the foundation as well for this defense. Because a guy like Quentin Williams on your defense, he's a heck of a player. And the thing is, he gets double teamed a lot, so his impact isn't truly felt other than like the other players that's lined up on the opposite sides of him that have the biggest impact because he has so many double teams. Appreciate the comment, Brandon. Mozzie was screwed after Dan Quinn left. It's not his fault because he had three coordinators in 3 years. True, true. But at the end of the day, though, and I'm pretty sure, Brandon, you'll agree with this. If you're a good player, it doesn't matter what system you're playing in, you're still going to play well regardless. Your talent's going to show. You know what I mean? And it clearly showed that, I mean, based on what you said, and hopefully, man, I hope that isn't true that he said that he didn't want to play football. But if that's the case, what are you doing? You just earning a check? Seriously, we don't need those type of players on the team at all. But Quentin Williams, we'll take that. Now, I'm going to follow back, Pops. Give me your thoughts on the moves that we made with getting Logan Wilson, linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals, and the blockbuster trade for Quentin Williams. Give me your thoughts on those.
Well, the one thing I always notice when players are traded or either they're drafted, they always say, "I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad the Cowboys drafted me, or whatever team it is that they drafted me." And so you seem to think that that is actually the feelings that they have. But down the line, somewhere along the line, rather shall I say, they tend to have a difference of opinion. Now, when you said about Mozzie said he never did want to play football, well, why didn't he say that at the beginning when he was first drafted by the Cowboys? He could have easily said that. He could have he could have said that at the beginning, but then he went on and said, hey, he could get better or whatever, you know. And I appreciate the comment again also about that and his rookie season. But the money looks good when you first start out, but the idea, the effort that you had to put in to become a star, then that makes a difference. And these other gentlemen that they actually did trade for, hopefully time will tell about them. Because I saw one this evening. He said, hey, I'm happy to be here. I want to make mend in with the fellas, and I want to make the defense better, whatever. And so we're going to find out about all of this. But a lot of talk is done either with a draft choice or, shall I say, with a trade. And sometimes it does have an effect on when the guys do have different coaches or whatever like that. But like you said also, if you have the talent, then you can take it wherever you are. Because if that's the case, then the Jets, they would have had the young man that we traded for. So we'll see what happens within the next, say, month or so, if these guys mesh in or not. But I really think the actual time that we can tell this will be probably at the beginning of spring training. I'm not spring training, but spring training. And we'll see what happens. But again, I love the Cowboys. I'm glad y'all traded for me. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and I'll say this as well because you do have some skeptics in regards to the fact that we did give up a first round pick. Now, shame on me because I didn't know that we actually got 2 first round picks for Micah. I only thought it was one and Kenny Clark. Let's see. Appreciate the comment. So, what are y'all thoughts on the defensive core for the Cowboys? What are the flaws, and what do they need to do better here going forward? So, I would say for the defensive core now, with having these players on board, with Quentin Williams and having Logan Wilson, along with Odigizua, and also the pick out of Boston College, I believe that we're building a foundation for the future. Now, would I love for this to come to fruition right now for this season, for us to make a run? Of course. But I think it is truly, it could be an immediate impact now, which I believe it is going to be. But just overall, where it's going to significantly improve our defense, I can't say that for this year. But I can see for the future, it will be better. Brandon, thanks for the comment. That's what we all thought about Taco Charlton. Yeah, Taco Charlton, you are correct. And then he winded up being shipped out the league and wound up playing, I think, for the USFL, the XFL, or whatever. So this is true. This is very true. So, I mean, when it comes to some D linemen in that first round, it's not been that we haven't had that greatest success doing that, other than Micah Parsons, which he's done in Green Bay. But as far as any of these first round defensive lineman picks we've had, you said it. Taco Charlton, bust. Maji Smith, bust. At least for us, like I said, Taco Charlton was a bust for any team he played on. That was even a bust in the USFL. But then Maji Smith, it remains to be seen. He was a bust for us. We'll see if he's a bust when he goes to play for other teams. Because as I mentioned, Cowboys players, some of them have had gone on. They've left us and had great careers elsewhere. I can venture they even won a Super Bowl or at least made the playoffs or a championship games or something when they left the Cowboys. But we'll see what happens with Maji Smith. Thank you for the comment, DeAndrea. This is a mid-season trade, but how does this affect our ability to effectively obtain future talent and trades, especially in some of the areas where we fall short defensively? Understood. So this is the thing. While we can still make trades for sure when it comes to, getting other talent. Now the trade deadline is done, so can't make any trades in regards to talent from other players, things of that nature. The only thing we can do now is get free agents off the street or things of that nature. That's the only way we can kind of improve as far as other players, adding other players to the squad, because we can't trade anything because the trade deadline is over. Appreciate the comment, Brandon. I think we close some defensive gaps when we get Overshown back after the bye week. This is true. You beat me to it, Brandon, but I appreciate the comment, sir. So I will say that that's part of how we're going to be better as well, where we fall short. Appreciate the comment, DeAndrea. But as I said, these are foundational pieces initially. We do have people coming back and players coming back in Damari and Overshown and Ravel, the draft pick that we had. Now, I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have. Being a rookie, he may have an immediate impact. I don't know. We shall see. But I know what I see in Damari and Overshown. The only thing is kind of how you mentioned about, Kyler Murray coming back being a bit rusty. That's the same thing with Damari and Overshown because he hasn't played in quite a while. So he's going to need to get back into game shape and things of the nature. But he's a heck of a player. And I think having Logan Wilson and Damari and Overshown, I think they're going to play very, very well together because both of them are sideline to sideline players. Logan Wilson's very intelligent, can diagnose plays very, very well. So can Damari and Overshown. So I think we're going to improve. But I'm skeptical to say that it's going to take us over the top. We will see if that happens or not, but I do not think it's going to take us over the top at this point in time. I think if we had a better record, then we would have a bit of wiggle room there. But being 3-5-1, and we have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up in a significant amount of days. Now we go up against the Raiders when we come off the bye, which again, Pops, is that a win? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a win or not based on the games that we've lost previously. Another comment from Brandon. The problem is he hasn't played under Eberflus's scheme. Bland is terrible under his scheme. Agreed. So we shall see how DeMar and Overshown will come about. It remains to be seen because we don't know yet, as he hasn't played. So we'll see about that. But we have gotten proof in regards to Bland that he has not been playing well, and not just him, but any of the corners that we've had on our squad have not been playing well whatsoever. Diggs, Bland, Stewart, any of them, Elam, none of them have been playing well whatsoever. So it just seems like at this point in time, we're going to have to do a major overhaul of our corners in general. Another comment. Appreciate the comment. What does the offense need to improve on? From my understanding, they're kind of inconsistent, considering that they are pretty high in the league offensively. So I would say, if anything, that they need to be they do need to be more consistent as far as um, converting third downs and converting field goals, converting instead of field goals, getting touchdowns. That's a problem that we've been seeing as of late here, because before they were getting a lot more touchdowns as opposed to field goals, but now it just seems like they've been relegated to that over these last few games, and that is a significant problem. And knowing how our defense is, I think that we have to take more risks as far as play calling is concerned, and also, these fourth downs where we've punted, where we should have actually gone for it. Those are some other things that we need to do as well. And the thing that I looked at it initially was Brian Schottenheimer is spending a lot of time with the defensive side of the ball. Since he's been doing that, the offense has suffered significantly. So I think what needs to happen, we got these players now. Brian Schottenheimer, go back to the offensive side of the ball. Let's stay focused on that because our offense was humming early on, and that's what needs to happen for sure. He's an offensive coach. Let's stay focused on that. Let's get back to getting things done on the offensive side of the ball. Let the defense coordinator do what he's going to do. If he can't improve it, then he's got to go. But at the end of the day, I don't want to say that either, because then that would mean another defense coordinator that we're going to have to bring on board, and we don't need that either, because we need some kind of synergy. We need some kind of cohesion there. Even though our defense sucks right now, am I willing to say that we need to get a new D coordinator right now? No, because again, that's going to be another defensive coordinator change. And it's been what, 3 coordinators? You had Dan Quinn. Was it Mike Nolan? Right, I believe it was. Then you had Zimmer, and now, we have who we have now, Eberflus. So, at the end of the day, what we want to do, I got that mixed up. My bad. It was Mike Nolan, then Dan Quinn, then Mike Zimmer, and now we have Eberflus now. So I don't think we need to make a change, honestly. We just need to stay where we are with the D coordinator. Hopefully, things will improve with these players that we have, and we shall see. But what are your thoughts on that, Pops?
Well, we were asked how could the offense improve. Well, one of the small problem we have is that offensive line right now, and I don't think they're gelling too well right now because we're getting a lot of penalties for little things like false starts, blocking schemes, uh, probably injuries. We'll have one in, one out, or whatever, and they are still young, and so I still think they maybe about I say a year away from actually being together. They're pretty good guys up front, but they're still making too many mistakes. Sometimes we can have a drive, and the next thing you know, we got a holding call. Get a drive started, and the next thing you know, we have a false start. So I think the experience will come along as time goes on, and once we do that, also, then we'll be okay. The running back we have is he's one of the best at, and actually he's coming back off an injury. But again, the offensive line makes too many mistakes at critical times, as you probably saw in the the first drive we had. They made an offensive mistake. So hopefully they'll get their little act together, they'll gel together, and then after that, then I think we'll be all right, because you have to have a good offensive line to make sure you can drive the ball safe from the 20 to the 20, and then get in the end zone instead of kicking field goals or actually getting stopped on fourth down. So we have some number one draft choices with that. And until they get their little act together on the offensive line, we'll still have a few struggles with other teams.
Understood. All right, so we're gonna move off the Cowboys now, y'all. Well, at least these current Cowboys. We're gonna get into a bit of a fun discussion here, and ask the question: who is the best 88 in Cowboys history? So, as you see pictured here, we have C.D. Lamb, we got Drew Pearson, we got Des Bryant, and we got Michael Irvin. So, Pops, who do you believe is the best 88 in Cowboys history?
Well, I go back quite a ways with the Cowboys, been with them all basically all my little life. I think that number 88, Drew Pearson, is the best one. And I'll say that, and once I say this, you'll look at it and see that the Hail Mary that everybody talks about right now was thought of by Drew Pearson and Roger Staubach. That's where the NFL got that from. When Drew Pearson made a catch with about 13 seconds to go against the Minnesota Vikings, and Roger threw that pass up in the air. Drew caught it, and then the next thing you know, the Cowboys were in their first playoff game, and I think they went on to the Super Bowl. But again, the Hail Mary pass was cloned by Drew Pearson and Roger Staubach. Now, the other guys are good guys and they're great guys. I love them. But back in the day, that's really when also the Cowboys were considered to be America's team. And a lot of people say, well, they're not the America's team. Well, if you had watched them back then, which is a long time ago, but that's where the actual Hail Mary came from. And I have to give it to Drew Pearson because, hey, he didn't have all of the speed and all of that, but he could actually come up with the pass that you thought could be overthrown or whatever. And so I think he would, to me. Now, there are others that think the 3 Super Bowls or whatever that Michael Irvin won. I loved him, saw him too. But Drew Pearson was the one that put 88 out there.
Okay, I can respect that. Now, for me, I'm going to kind of give 2 parts here, right? So I'm going to say talent-wise, I'm going to say CeeDee Lamb is my favorite, is the best 88. Got a comment here, only saying Brian because it was a catch that one game that would have taken the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. Man, don't bring it up, please. That hurts right there, man. That hurts because I agree. That was a catch. That was a catch. But as I said, I think talent-wise, CeeDee Lamb, because of how much he does on the field, I think he's amazing. What he does after the catch, all those things. Okay, power production and services. Appreciate the comment, Urban, for me. I respect that, and I'm coming to Urban for sure. But I'd say talent-wise, CeeDee Lamb for sure. But overall, it would have to be Michael Irvin for me because of the 3 Super Bowls and because of the fact that he brought so much to the team. It wasn't like you knew going across that middle, he's gonna get that ball no matter how big of a he's gonna take, whatever the case may be, he's gonna get it done. And he was called a playmaker because he did make those plays. And like I said, he was a big reason why we have those 3 Super Bowls. That'll be forever etched in my mind. Just what he brought to the table in general. Just being able to be that person you can always go to when you needed to play. He would always get it done. And again, that's all you see is that constant leader, the constant plays. Just when you needed to get it done, you knew who to go to. And even Troy Aikman says that to this day about how much he appreciated having Michael Irvin on the team. Emmitt Smith says the same thing. But just again, what all he brought to the table, and just that winning mentality that he brought from the University of Miami to the Cowboys, even though they were losing initially. But he said he wasn't going to just stand for losing consistently like that. That he wanted to be part of a winner. He was a big reason why we were able to get those 3 championships. And I'm hoping that the 88 we have now will bring that same energy. Now, have I seen him be fiery and things of that nature like Michael Irvin? No. But talent-wise, he can break a game wide open, as we've clearly seen. So I truly believe that he can help us win a championship as being an explosive offense. Now, we do need to continue to make sure that we find ways to get him the ball. Hopefully, won't get him injured like we did in the Denver game. But he's a player that can truly make plays when he has the ball in his hands. And I say, like I said, talent-wise, I think he's the best 88 out of all of them in the picture that we saw. But overall, I would have to say Michael Irvin. So good conversation there, Pops. Loving that. I figured you would love that Drew Pearson, seeing Drew Pearson in the pick.
Well, with Drew Pearson, like I said again, the clone of America's team, and everybody kind of like bit off of that within the last 15, 20, 30 years or whatever. That again is where it came from, and some of the viewers won't know anything too much about that. because of the fact they were a lot young, and some older guys will know about that. But Drew would also, now I will tell you this, he would go across the middle. He wasn't afraid to do that. But also when there was a catch that needed to be made, you could count on 88 Drew Pearson to do it too. So again, I love Michael Irvin, and the 3 Super Bowls, they kind of make it a little bit even.
Okay. And then for the last segment, guys, we just got to figure out what is going on at LSU. What is happening at LSU right now? I truly don't understand. So we're going to play this first clip. Let's see what's happening here.
The first question is absolutely correct. We are not going down a failed path. And I wanted to tell you something. This is a pattern. The guy that's here now that wrote that contract cost Texas A&M $70-something million. Right now, we got a $53 million liability. We are not doing that again. And you know what? I believe that we're going to find a great coach. I mean, maybe we'll let President Trump pick it. He loves winners. I'm not going to be picking the next coach. But I can promise you, we're going to pick a coach, and we're going to make sure that that coach is successful. And we're going to make sure that he's compensated properly. And we're going to put metrics on it. Because I'm tired of rewarding failure in this country and then leaving the taxpayers on the foot, to foot the bill. So, yeah, I absolutely. Who's that?
Now, listen, that was the Louisiana governor talking about the LSU head coaching position that's currently available. He was discussing the athletic director who is no longer there. But hold on, he wasn't done. Let's play the next clip.
No, I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach. Because, wait, I want to hold on. One real quick thing on that. Because here's what y'all reporters need to do. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people, like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodward's agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like, you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now. Like, it's really time for the NCAA to put on some guardrails in college sports. Because, and it's fine. We don't need the guardrails. If big billionaires want to spend all that kind of money, no problem. But if I got to go find $53 million from Kemp, it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. I'm just telling you. I know. And I think that that's important as well. Y'all should start looking into that. Okay.
To say, I honestly don't know who would want to be the head coach of LSU, the LSU football team right now. We talk about how Jerry Jones seems to get involved in certain things that he doesn't need to be involved in, but this is utterly ridiculous. Now, mind you, Scott Woodward is no longer the AD there. I wouldn't believe he would have been after seeing something like that on the screen. Just seems like a pretty toxic situation at LSU, and we will see who winds up being the coach there. But I honestly don't know who would want to be the coach there, having to deal with something like that. Because what you want as a college, as a head college football coach, is you're going to have boosters and things of that involved. But I mean, goodness, the Louisiana governor is involved with saying that whoever's going to be coach, whatever the case may be, making sure that whoever the AD was at the time, like I said, Scott Woodward, wasn't going to make the decision. Unbelievable. Like I said, I don't know who would want to be the coach there, but we shall see who will take the job. That will probably be coming at some point sooner rather than later, but we'll see. A lot of names floated out there for the job, but again, after that rant, I don't know who would want to be the head football coach there. At least not any big names that I would think of. because they probably wouldn't want to deal with that. I know Nick Saban had already said he's not going to be dealing with that at all. So that's all we're going to say about that topic there. Guys, want to also close out the show by saying that our prayers are to those who are in the Caribbean dealing with the devastation of Hurricane Melissa. We're praying for you. We hope that that things get better for you guys. Prayers up for you for sure. God bless you guys. And last but not least, there is somebody on this show that is celebrating a birthday today, and it is Pops. Happy birthday, Pops. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, Pops. Happy
Thank you,
birthday. I love you, Pops. May God bless you to see many, many more. But listen, y'all, we appreciate y'all tuning into the show today. Keep in mind, we are on every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We appreciate the support, appreciate all the comments. We really, really, really appreciate that. We love y'all, and we will see y'all next Wednesday. Peace out, y'all.